What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Dealing the Cards. We are down Josh today. He's doing some international travel at the moment. But Andrew and I are here, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk about today. That includes some rumors that Yadier Molina could be joining the coaching staff, maybe some other rumors swirling around the Cardinals catching, right? So looking to maybe offload some depth this offseason. And then Jordan Walker was spotted at Driveline. So there's been some Twitter discourse around that. So we've got all that and more coming up on the show today. All right, Andrew, which of those three things is the most exciting or most interesting to you to start with today? We've got a little bit of a flexible schedule today.
Yeah, I think the Yadi stuff is probably the most pressing. A lot of people seem to be talking about it. A lot of people seem to be excited about it. There's nothing officially confirmed yet, but Yadi was on a radio show very recently talking about his interest in joining the coaching staff and helping Oli. You've seen him around the ballpark throughout the last season. He was there just kind of invited by Oli to hang around the players. And, we don't really know what kind of impact he had on any of those guys. He was only there for like 2 weekend series. So I'm not really sold on the idea of, wow, Yadi's committed fully to the team. It did seem more like, he's dropping in to see what's going on with the club. And that's definitely good. You want a guy like that. You want your Hall of Famers to stick around the organization.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of pour into guys. We had the report. I don't even know if we discussed it. I don't think we've been live since all the Albert Pujols Angels rumor stuff has happened. But that's obviously something that's going to potentially happen at some point this offseason. Is Albert Pujols managing with the Angels, which good luck, I guess. That's tough.
Terrible job.
But definitely seeing guys like that getting into the managerial scene. Skip Schumacher took the Rangers role after Bruce Bochy stepped down. Descalso is going to be a candidate for a lot of these roles. Yadi obviously would probably be a pretty sought after guy in a lot of these spots, but I think it makes sense that he would be committed to the Cardinals just because Albert did play for the Angels. He played for the Dodgers very briefly, but still was not a Cardinal for his entire career. And Yadi was a Cardinal for his entire career. It would be very odd to see him manage somewhere else. That would be really strange. I don't know if that's ever happened with a player of that caliber who stayed with one team for their entire career to just go and do something somewhere else. Obviously it could happen. If things go bad with Yadi, I don't even really want to think about what could happen, but you could see him go and manage another team if he eventually becomes the manager of the Cardinals one day. I think, the commitment is definitely something that I have questions about. Obviously, what was it, 2 seasons ago, he was the special advisor to Mo and never showed up. So that's rough. You don't like to see that coming from your franchise cornerstone catcher. But, it seems like he did actually show up this year and he wasn't even required to do that. So that's definitely good. Definitely seeing him transition into that stage of life where he's ready to come back to baseball, ready to do a lot of those things for the organization. So I'm excited to see what would happen. I don't think I think if he wants it, he's going to get it. I don't think there's really any reason to not do it, especially because Oli likes keeping the guys that are the best suited for the role around the team.
Sure.
I think Descalso is probably not coming back. I think he's probably going to get a managerial gig. So you probably need to find a new bench coach anyway. And is next year Oli's last year?
Yeah, on the current contract, which would be devastating.
I don't know how I feel about that, but Oli knows that once he's in the dugout, people are going to be calling for his head, especially if the Cardinals are not going to be good again next year, which they probably won't be.
Yeah. I just feel like, I don't know. I know you agree with me, but you can't blame them not being good on Oli. It's just people are going to do it, Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Also probably one of the last remnants of the Mo era that are going to be around the team.
Yeah, I mean, that's
at least the figureheads,
Yeah.
Gersh is doing a back end thing. A lot of the other guys are retiring. Ollie's probably
Flores is still around.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you're probably right about that. You said a lot of good things there. I think I mostly agree with you. You are right. Like it kind of does feel like Yadi as a manager is inevitable once he gets around the team, right? Where it's just, I don't really see a world where he joins the coaching staff in a full-time role and doesn't eventually ascend to the position of manager unless something weird happens, which I mean, I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. Although I don't know if I think Ollie's a really good manager. You know, I think I know we've said this a million times, but I think Ollie's a great manager. And I think the Cardinals would be making a mistake to just move on from him. You know, I think he's really, really great at getting the most out of guys, great at managing a bullpen. I can't say that enough. The last 2 years of Cardinal baseball, not fun teams, right? But much more compelling than they should have been. I think Ollie really squeezed everything he could, especially out of that 24 roster, a team that still won 83 games. And honestly, like this year, that team might have made the playoffs. So and I think he squeezed everything out of this team too. Both times you can just tell the team totally ran out of juice. And it was a huge lack of depth problem, a lack of talent problem. So whatever. But yeah, Yadi's exciting, obviously, right? Like we grew up with him. He was one of the faces of the best Cardinals teams of our lives. So that's really great. He's a franchise icon, but I just think it's very soon. And I worry about what happens if something goes wrong. Because if he's not a good manager, it fractures the relationship between the player and the club and the player and the fan base. And I would hate to live in a world where people want Yadier Molina to be fired. Like that just would suck, especially before, because we both think Yadi's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's definitely going to be a Cardinals Hall of Famer. And so for something like that to happen before Yadi gets into the Hall of Fame, before the Cardinals retire his number, should he make it into the Hall of Fame, it would just be a huge bummer. It would just be weird. The vibes would be off. You'd love to see him start managing after that when his status is cemented. There's nothing that can change what he did as a player here. But I just think it could be kind of weird. Whatever the case, he's a great baseball mind, and having him on the coaching staff will be a huge boon to the club. You can't argue with that. And maybe, just maybe, that means they can catch Ivan Herrera and stop caring about game calling. Let Yadi call the games from the dugout, right? I mean, that'd be great.
That's one thing that I think probably gets understated is that, Herrera is probably, if he can catch, he's almost certainly your most valuable player. Like Mason Wynn defensively at shortstop does provide like significant value. I don't want to look over that. And, the offensive struggles we've talked about, like he's been playing hurt with a bad knee or bad ankle or whatever. Yeah. Like that's terrible. I don't know why they didn't give him surgery earlier, but whatever. You can call with the pitch comms now. You can call the games from wherever you want. Like you could have a pitch comm in the dugout, and Yadi can be calling the pitches. And honestly, like if you had that, like you look back at Cardinals history when Yadi was catching. I know it's a different dynamic with a coach and whatnot, but like it seemed like the Cardinals would always get the most out of their pitching staff, and it's like. I don't really know if you can credit Yadi all for that, but like whatever Pajes is doing, like times 10, right? Like whatever he's doing for Sonny Gray, or like the pitching staff seems to love him. Pajes didn't really get the most out of the starters, right? Like you've seen a lot of these guys take significant steps back this season. Maybe that's age. Maybe that's just them not getting as lucky anymore. Palante's ground balls aren't getting through as much, but like, you saw pretty much everyone in the rotation take a step back this year, aside from like Liberatore, who's never been in the rotation before, so you don't really know how that would have gone.
I mean, Michael's was better.
But like, yeah, whatever. Who cares about that? Like Sonny Gray took significant steps back.
Yeah.
Andre Palante took significant steps back. I don't even want to talk about Eric Fetty and how bad like he regressed throughout the season. So like, if you get Yadi in there, like you look at these Cardinals rotations and like they've been better than the ones that they ran out last year and the year before. But like, think about some of the names. Like in 2021, who was in your rotation? It was like
Dakota Hudson.
Yeah. It was like these guys that were really just like middling at best, and like John Lester and Happ and like these these old
Oh my
guys that
gosh.
like
Montgomery was good, but
and like Wayno, like he ended up falling off really hard after Yadi left. And I don't like there was injuries, WBC, you can blame whatever you want, but like
yeah, he was pitching on a bum, like I don't know,
yeah,
he had a bum
he
knee.
got hurt in the WBC. So like and then he just never recovered from that.
Well, he was throwing like 91, 92, and then he came in throwing like 88, 87.
Yeah,
It's
so
a huge difference. Like that's just soft toss to these guys.
but like for Yadi to like be around for the organization, like I think Wayno probably would have retired a lot earlier if Yadi didn't stick around the organization, if he wasn't catching. And
I mean, he barely made it through the 2019 season.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
he was done. And then he kind of had that resurgence in 21, 22, which was awesome. That was so special.
So I definitely think like it's probably not going to be as good because he's not on the field, like talking to the pitchers as much, interacting with them. But like I feel like that would really help. And then also with Ivan Herrera, maybe have him learn from the guy who was the best at throwing out base runners over the last 20 years. Like that would be nice. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think you're right. Like Yadi's probably the best at game preparation of our era, right? Like I don't know anybody that played the game like he did. Probably one of the best game callers of all time. So it's going to be like invaluable to have him back, of course. But I just think the big
he was good at framing, but guess what? That doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Well, no, framing will still matter. Okay. Because teams are going to use their challenges. They're going to run out of challenges sometimes. Like it's still going to matter. Umpires' calls are still going to matter. And honestly, the only calls that I think are really going to get challenged are like blatantly bad calls where instead of good framing, that's just an umpire making a mistake. A call that's like 3 inches off the plate that someone randomly rings up where it's like the catcher wasn't even trying to frame that. I think for the most part, stuff on the black is still really going to matter. So I don't know about that. I mean, maybe hitters have a better idea of the strike zone than I think. I mean, obviously they're professionals and they've seen a lot of pitches in their lives, but I think it's going to be hard to tell, especially early on. It's going to take some time for guys to get adjusted and used to it. But yeah, it'll be really good to have Yadi around, of course. So do you think Yadi coming back has any impact on whether Herrera catches? And this can kind of lead into our next segment here as we talk about some rumors around some of the Cardinals catching depth. What do you think there?
I mean, I think it is going to like definitely help him, right? Like I don't think having Yadi around is going to hurt a guy that can't throw. And I think the surgery that Herrera is going to get this offseason to remove whatever was going on in his elbow, which has apparently been going on for several years, which I don't know why you didn't like fix that before, Cardinals. Like, come on, guys. It's really not that hard.
Yeah.
But like, and he's had a throwing problem for a while too. So like that kind of makes sense that I don't know. Like I didn't follow him in the system as closely as maybe you or Kareem did, but like I can't imagine that there would be a catcher in the system and we would just know that he can't throw and just be fine with it. I feel like that's kind of weird. So
strange,
definitely like weird on that, but like, yeah, I hope that, he helps Herrera learn how to prepare and helps him, learn how to throw out base runners and just get a better feel of the game, because having a guy like that in the clubhouse just can't hurt. And I think it makes a lot of things just easier for a young guy who obviously can swing the bat. He's probably a better hitter already than, maybe not like peak Yadi, but he's like definitely at Yadi's. When Yadi was that age, he was definitely not that good of a hitter, right?
Yadi wasn't a good hitter for probably the first like 7 years of his career. And at his very best, he didn't have the power production.
No, he didn't have the like. How many homers did Herrera have? He hit like 18 in like 100 or so games. Like I don't think
Herrera was on pace for like a 30 homer season had he been healthy all year.
Yeah. Like 2012 Yadi, 137 OPS plus, 22 homers. Like that's a great player, especially with the defense that he provides you. But like offensively, I think Herrera can definitely do that.
Herrera over a full like 650 at bat season easily gives you 30 homers last year. He ended up with a 136 OPS plus. So that right there is the very best you ever got out of Yadi as a hitter. It's just whether Herrera can stay healthy, of course. And you got other Yadi provided durability that no one will ever give you.
Right. Like but Herrera will get those DH days, and he's shown that he can DH properly. Like some hitters can't DH, but like he's shown that he can do that.
You
I
can't
think
have
Cal Raleigh, like when he DHs, is like just a significantly worse hitter, which is kind of
It's really
weird.
funny.
But MVP.
You can't have Herrera's bat out of the lineup if you're the Cardinals and
Right.
expect to be competitive right now. He's far and away the best hitter on the team.
But yeah, I mean, we saw on MLB trade rumors. I don't know who put this out, but the Cardinals are like shopping their catchers.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a weird headline because it said that like the prime targets for other teams were Herrera, Pages, and Crooks or something. Like you can ask about Herrera, you can call and ask.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals are hanging up the phone though. Like I just don't think there's any way the Cardinals trade Herrera unless it's like some overwhelming package. It just doesn't make any sense right now. If the Cardinals are really trying to rebuild and if they're really trying to actually land like a star talent on offense, you've got one. For the first time in a long time, it really does feel like Ivan Herrera is a bat that might stick. The Cardinals have had a lot of big bats come up over the years, whether you want to talk about Jordan Walker or, Skywalker right here. It says, this comment says, it said Crooks was untouchable.
Yeah, Crooks and Bernal.
I just don't think that's.
And obviously Raniel Rodriguez, but like that's not even.
I don't think Crooks is untouchable at all for what it's worth. I think the Cardinals have brought up a number of catching prospects, and pretty much all. I mean, part of it was because Yadi just stayed around forever and was incredibly. He had the longevity, but they brought up a number of prospects and moved on from all of them. Whether you want to talk about a Carson Kelly or like even an Andrew Kisner, and I'll be so real. I think if Crooks gives you like the very best of Andrew Kisner, that's probably like kind of a reasonable expectation for what Crooks is going to be. Maybe a little better. But I'm not sure there's like anything more than maybe like a 110.
Well, Andrew Kisner was like terrible for like his aside from 2023, where I feel like he just got really lucky. He was like terrible.
He was bad, but also like, do you think Crooks is an above league average hitter?
Maybe not, but he's not like Kisner. You look at his seasons, like his full seasons where he's a backup. 2021, he played 63 games and had a 46 OPS plus. Like he's not going to be that bad. I don't.
Okay, yeah, he's not going to be that bad, but also
he was like a 74 OPS plus guy, and then 23 was an outlier season where I don't even really look at that. And you look at where he's gone ever since then; it's not been good. It's like a 74 OPS plus guy.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not good. He was.
And I feel like Crooks' defense is probably going to be better.
It's like the same. I don't even know if it's that much better. And at the same time, it's like backup catcher. That's such a hard job because you only get out there every once in a while, and when you are out there, there's a ton of stuff you have to do. Like you're sitting in on pitchers meetings instead of hitters meetings. Game prep is crazy, especially for a guy that doesn't have a ton of chemistry with the pitching staff, that isn't in there all the time. Like they worked pretty hard to get Kisner in a regular routine with certain guys. I feel like he and Dakota Hudson always worked together, which is really funny looking back. But Kisner probably had like a similar amount of hype to Crooks, a little less when he came up. But I mean, Crooks has never been a top 100 prospect. I don't think, I mean, the bat's like fine. He's hit for good average. He gets the ball in the air enough. You'll see some line drives, but I just don't think it's going to be that much better. I think the discourse around Kisner, or not Kisner, Crooks, it's a lot like the discourse around Thomas Sajazi, where people seem to think he's capable of regular numbers, but I just don't think he's a major league regular. And I'm not sure Crooks is going to be that much better than even like a Pages or a Crooks or a Kisner. So I don't know. I think it's fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals moved on from him. But I'll tell you what, they're not trading Ivan Herrera. It just doesn't make any sense. He's the best bat you've developed in how long, right? I know they've had other guys come up, big bats, which is where we were a few minutes ago. They've had big bats come up, but really none of them have delivered the way Ivan Herrera's delivered across, his first 2 seasons with the big league club. And on top of that, none of them have ever repeated anything. So like O'Neill had that one great season in 21, couldn't repeat it. Walker was fine his rookie year, even though he was awful in the field, which Herrera's bad, but he's nowhere near as bad as Walker is as a fielder. But he repeated it this year, and he actually was even better as a hitter. Also, the advanced metrics just love everything Herrera does. They seem to point to him being a true all-star caliber hitter, and that's why he's 36% above league average this year. I just can't imagine that they trade him. Do you think there's any way the Cardinals are seriously listening to offers?
I mean, I think if they think he can't catch, which I don't know how true that is. I'm sure Bloom and Oli have discussed it. I don't think that they would get the offer that moves the needle, but like obviously, I don't think there's a single player on this roster that I would say on the major league roster that I would say you don't trade this guy for like anything other than like I don't even know, like just a crazy prospect haul from someone else, like whatever the Padres gave up for like I don't know. The Padres make weird moves,
Yeah,
but
they do.
like something like that. Maybe a team comes calling really desperate for a catcher, and but that doesn't seem reasonable to me. I don't think he's like completely untouchable, but I don't think I would move him for more than like I would listen to see like kind of what this guy is worth, but there's no way that I can't see Crooks necessarily sticking as the future at catcher. Bernal maybe, but like how many was Carson Kelly not like a top 100 prospect at one
He
point?
was. Carson Kelly was a big time prospect, and he's like he finally had the first good year of his career right now.
Yeah, and
and that was the flukiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, go Brewers. But
I also just think that like Pius is not a terrible catcher. Okay, I know you're down on Pedro Pius more than any. I think we've done him a disservice for the most part. Like he's fine. He's not good.
He's like a fine backup catcher. I don't think he should be starting ever. Like, uh-oh. I think we lost Sandy. Uh-oh. Guys in the chat, can you see it? Did we lose Sandy? Well, okay. I don't know what's going on, but here. Well, let's see what's going on. But okay, he's frozen. Everyone in the chat is saying that he's frozen. But yeah, I don't know. I think for the catching situation, we're talking about Pedro Pages. I think he's a fine, backup catcher. And then, the prospects you have coming up, Crooks, I'm not, as high on as I would be, like Bernal. But we're just talking about how Carson Kelly has been, such a. Oh, there he goes. That's rough. So, but yeah, I think. Where am I? Bernal, definitely probably not a guy I would trade, and obviously Rhino Rodriguez. I don't even know if he necessarily profiles as a catcher long term. I know that's where he is right now. He's only 18 years old, but it definitely is not, somebody that I would pencil in as like, oh, in 5 years, Rhino Rodriguez is your catcher of the future. And then for sure, like, yeah, I don't know. These rumors are weird to me. I don't think I would trade Herrera for really necessarily anything more than the absolute mother load from a team, as we were saying. And then there's also the thing in the article where it's saying that Ivan Herrera, Pedro Paez, and Yoel Pozo are the likelier trade candidates. I don't know what you could even get for Pozo. I think he's a DFA candidate, a non-tender candidate this offseason, just because I don't really think there's anything that you could reasonably get other than like cash. If you look at his numbers throughout the final stretch of the season, like it looked really good for a while. You were going to start him over Paez a lot of the time. And then, now he's ended up with a 637 OPS. His defense is not very good behind the plate, probably even worse than Herrera's. Like he lets a lot of pass balls. It's a cool story. I like it a lot. Like he's a great player to root for, but I don't see the Cardinals really getting anything. Yeah, and Graham, it definitely does feel like it was written by someone outside the organization. It was kind of mentioned like Derek Gould's chats, which I don't really participate in. I don't really know what was necessarily said, but it seems like a lot of assumptions are being made with the catching situation. So I think, yeah, definitely. Oh, we got Sandy back. Wow, I was trying to hold down the fort. I don't usually ever do this by myself, but yeah, just talking about catching and honestly, this article to me seems like a nothing burger because
I
like
agree.
you're probably not trading Herrera, and
No.
if you trade Pajes or Pozo, if you can get anything for Pozo, honestly, you do it because you have the 40-man crunch this offseason, and you're going to
Yeah.
have 5 catchers on the 40-man if you keep Pozo around. And yeah, cool story, but whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was not a great story. I read it, I was like, whatever. I kind of just got annoyed because I think it was someone who just didn't have a ton of familiarity, maybe, with the state of the organization and the system. Sorry about my Wi-Fi. We're hotspotting on my phone now. This is ridiculous. It says I have full bars. Charter's screwing me over right now, man. It's terrible. Whatever the case, though, yeah, I think I'm with you. I can't see the Cardinals trading Herrera. I can say it as many times as I want. It makes no sense at all. But yeah, I think he's going to be the guy next year. I'm not sure how many games he's going to catch. Over under, you think Herrera catches more than 40 and a half games next year?
40 and a half? It's got to be over, right? Like, I think if you're going to commit to Herrera as the guy, you're going to have to make him the starting catcher, right? Like, you can't just be like, well, Herrera, you're going to catch sometimes. Because, like, what's the point of that? If he's going to be a backup catcher and DH most of the time, then just have him learn outfield and find another catcher. Like, I don't get it.
Do you think he catches more than half of their games?
Probably. Hopefully. Like, if he stays healthy, I don't see why not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still fine with them throwing him in the outfield if they really do think catching is contributing to the injuries. I know I've expressed this.
I feel like catching is like, because he had that one like thing running the bases, like catching or playing outfield is going to make your legs, like you're going to run a lot more. Like you're obviously catching is the worst on your legs. But
well, yeah, I think the thought is just that the catching saps his durability. You know. Yeah.
I don't know. That's
one more interesting piece of news. Jordan Walker at Driveline or Tread. Was Jordan Walker at Tread or Driveline? Driveline? Okay. Never mind. Not Tread. Driveline. I saw these videos. He was in the cage. Looks like he's elevating a little bit. Huh? Are you interested? Are you intrigued? It seemed like a lot of people on Twitter were excited about it. I saw some funny quote tweets. Some people saying they're buying back in. They're all in. How does this make you feel?
I mean, I'm glad that he's going to Driveline. He definitely needs to work on things this offseason, but like, I don't really care, honestly. Like, it was a tweet directly from Driveline, and they're trying to promote their product and be like, oh, this is good. Look at this guy who couldn't hit the ball and was elevating couldn't elevate the entire season. And now he is hitting in BP and he can do it all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, I mean, good. I'm glad he can do it in BP. If he couldn't do it in BP, then you're cooked, right? Like you're not going to be any good ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think Graham said it best right here. He can elevate the ball all he wants. He needs to learn when to swing the bat. Plate discipline is my biggest concern for him. And I said something like this in our chat after I watched these videos, right? The problem with Walker is that there are multiple problems, okay? You can fix the elevation issue, and that's fine. If Jordan Walker could pull the ball in the air more often, that'd be great. But this is also something you said, Andrew, and I know you were kidding, but you said those aren't sliders in the opposite batter's box. You're right. Jordan Walker still has a pitch recognition problem. That's the thing. You can do whatever you want regarding the quality of contact, whatever. But if Jordan Walker can't, I don't know, if he can't pick up what's being thrown to him, if he can't recognize pitches better, it won't matter. The problems are twofold at the plate. You fix one, the other one is just going to become a more glaring issue. And then the worst part about all of it is even if you fix all of it at the plate and turn him into somehow an above average hitter, which I'd be surprised if Jordan Walker has an above average season at the plate with the Cardinals at this point. I just don't know how it happens. But if you could fix all of those things, he's still capped by his inability to play good outfield defense, right? And like we just talked about with Herrera, and when Bernal gets into the fold, we didn't even touch on Bernal in the last segment, but when he gets into the fold, that could make things tougher. If you want him to catch, Herrera's DHing. There's not going to be room for Walker to DH. The Cardinals are already so limited by good bats that don't have great fits in the field, whether you want to talk about Burleson, Herrera. They don't have room for Walker to DH on a regular basis. So unless he starts to pump out like 130, 135 WRC plus months, like there's no way they're going to have room for him. So I know. I I promise, Enrico, we have not been talking about Jordan Walker the whole time, but we did just start the Driveline video. So, yeah. Is there anything else that you feel like you need to mention about Walker at Driveline or what you saw?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's good that he's getting his work in. There were definitely questions about his work ethic and listening to coaching, and I'm glad that because you don't have to go to Driveline in the offseason, right? Like, it's not required.
Yeah.
But it definitely does show that maybe he's a little bit concerned about his future right now. He wants to make that ARB money, which I think he's still pre-ARB next year because he pretty much spent all of last season at AAA.
Yeah.
And probably will be pre-ARB again because hopefully he spends all of next season at AAA unless he's really good.
You're running out of option years, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
How many options does Walker have left? I don't know.
One option, yeah.
Just one?
It would be his last one. That's why they couldn't send him down this year.
That's not good. That's not good at all. Because at that point, right, I think then this truly becomes a make or break year for Walker. Because if it's not good enough to have him on the truth or to have him on the team next year, it's bad. It's really bad. So that's very unfortunate.
Hey, but some people are high on Jordan Walker. If you're high on Jordan Walker, you should buy some cards of him because maybe they'll go up in value.
Yeah, and there's a great place to buy those cards, actually. That's 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles, located at 9640 Olive Boulevard in Olivet, Missouri. They are open 10 to 6 Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday. They buy, sell, and trade all sorts of sports cards, Pokemon cards, whatever you're looking for. They have the newest selection of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from around the league. So if you're like Andrew and you're chasing that Irving Lopez auto, or if you're also like Andrew and you're chasing the next Shohei card, they're probably going to have it. It's a great place to spend an afternoon. Go in, tell them we sent you. Very great place. I know, Andrew, are you showing that off on the podcast?
I don't have it. I have to go back to St. Louis to go get it from Devin, but it is mine, and I will show it off as soon as I get it in hand.
Are we telling the people what it is, or are we?
Yeah, I do have Eric Fetty's 1/1 Superfractor rookie card from 2018 Topps.
I can't believe you bought that. That's a crazy investment,
so,
especially considering
it's not an investment. It's just a hey, look, I said this guy was going to be terrible, and he was terrible, and yeah, it's my trophy. Over you guys, over the Cardinals, over Anyway, I also bought a Jordan Walker auto at the start of the season. That was quite a bad decision.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, maybe the Jordan Walker autos now will be cheaper than ever, and when he bangs after Driveline, it'll be great.
Yeah, I know a couple people on Twitter that should really invest in them. Like, should put their money where their mouth is.
People that are really into putting the ball in play and seeing what happens, maybe. Yeah. Maybe check it out. Jordan Walker knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I guess as we get into the second half of the show here, we probably should talk about some of the language that Chaim Bloom has used. Because I feel like he's been willing to say words that Mozeliak was never willing to say. And he's been willing to put a timetable on things, right? So it really does seem like Chaim is trying to communicate his vision to the fans. I think that's something, by and large, people are grateful that we're not having this patience, some of these nebulous, vague terms and ideas of when the Cardinals will be good next. It seems like Chaim truly believes this is a 3 to 5 year plan. Do you get that sense?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, he wasn't willing to go and say we're rebuilding or whatever this offseason, because honestly, like, this team isn't that bad, right? Like, it's a pretty weak roster, but somehow, despite all the issues, they end up finishing 4 games out of the wild card. I think it was 5 games out of the wild card. Well, they kind of punted on the series at the end. They were starting random guys on the last day. So I'm not really. I think if they were still there, Donovan would have been in there, and Wynn would have probably tried to leg it out. But anyway, it's not completely lost. We're not the Rockies or the Pirates or the Nationals or any of these teams that really need to know they're going to be bad. They have the pieces.
Sure. Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily make sense to trade all of those good pieces, right? A lot of them, Herrera, we just talked about, wouldn't really make sense to trade him unless you got crazy. Win, you're not going to trade. Donovan.
But it doesn't seem like they're going to move on from. I think if I had to put on it, there's going to be at least like what? Am I lagging here?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
But no, it's okay.
This is ridiculous.
No,
I was going to say if I had to put my money on it, at least, like I think more than one guy that we previously viewed as core could be moved this offseason, right?
Yeah.
Like whether it's Lars Nootbaar. I don't think Alec Burleson gets traded, but he might. Maybe Nolan Gorman's on the move, even though his value seems really low right now, and I don't know. But like there's going to be significant movement this year in a way we didn't see last year for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say they're going to make a move at some point, multiple moves. Arenado, I would say, is probably gone. Sonny Gray is probably gone. Lars Nootbaar is probably gone. But like again, like these are guys that were all below league average for you. Sonny Gray was not, but like like Arenado was below league average for you. Lars Nootbaar was below league average for you. Gorman, if you lose him, he might become NLCS MVP. He might just get hot, But at the end of the day, is it a piece that I would say is for sure like part of the core anymore? No. He was just that bad in September, and then
the core is shrunk.
I think if you trade Donovan or Burleson, then I think your ceiling for next season is probably not as high. But you're going to give guys opportunities, right? Like you're going to give a lot of these players a chance to play more. Like JC might take a step forward, and I know you're not high on JC, but I think I'm higher on JC than I am on like Crooks. Like. I feel like JC.
I feel like it's the same, honestly. Like I do not see. People can argue with me all they want, but I just don't see Sajazi as a regular. I don't think he is. We saw a lot of him this year, and it was not great for the vast majority of the season. He was hot for like 2 weeks at the beginning, and he had a nice September. But I do not see him as a regular. And I think there's a lot of guys. I don't see Church as a regular either. I think a lot of the guys that the Cardinals have brought up in the last 2 years do not profile as regulars. The talent is down. It's farther down in the system, right? Like the true top end talent, aside from JJ Weatherholt, like Josh Baez played all year at AA. This guy's not going to be ready opening day for you. Reinald Rodriguez advanced just up to advanced this year, right? Like this is a guy that's 2 to 3 years away still. Like there is talent, but I just don't think it's ready yet. And that's why, I mean, you can move guys. I just don't think most of the next guys up have like a ton of value. Bernal could be really good, but also he needs to play at AAA all year.
And I feel like if you have like, you're going to definitely have holes in your roster. Like if you have, let's say Herrera's catching, and then at first you got Contreras, who I don't know. I still think, why is this guy still here?
I love Contreras here, but that's great. As long as he wants.
And you have JJ at second because I think he'll be on the opening day roster. Mason Wynn at shortstop. Then at third, it's like I don't really know. Like if you trade Nolan Gorman and you trade Nolan Arenado, like I don't know. Like JC, I guess, plays third. Maybe JJ plays third and JC plays second. I don't know. Like that's a question.
Yeah, JC at third is like fine. You could figure it out.
Yeah.
I also think that like the Cardinals could get creative. That's what, and we can talk about this afterwards. But like, I really hope Heim is willing to go out there and like, I don't know if there's sign somebody or make a trade for like a post hype sleeper type player.
Yeah.
There's gotta be guys out there, right? I don't know. Was it Vientos that had such a down year with the Mets? Like maybe there's something there. Maybe there's some guy like that the Cardinals can go out and grab and they can have a little surprising run. I don't know. You look at like the Reds got Andujar at the trade deadline, and he was awesome.
Yeah, and the Brewers who got Vaughn for Aaron Savali, which maybe the Cardinals should have done that with Eric Fetty, but whatever.
Would have been great.
Yeah. Anyway. And Eric Fetty actually had success with the White Sox, I believe. So,
hey, Jordan Walker can play third, right?
No, please don't. Don't start on that.
It's so fun. That's like my favorite part of the Jordan Walker discourse is the people that blame the position change. That's the funniest thing.
Anyway, like, yeah, I mean, the 40-man just has a lot of waste on it. Maybe Jose Fermin, maybe he plays second base. Like he really started to figure out in the second half, and then you move JJ to third, and
if you're moving JJ around for Jose Fermin, that's crazy.
Or move Jose Fermin to third. I'm sure he can play it. Like
he can try figure
he's an
it out.
infielder.
Look,
he can figure it.
if the Cardinals want to walk into next year with Fermin, like not only on the opening day roster, but in the starting 9, that's crazy. You might as well
Yeah,
though. Who
I mean,
cares?
I'm working on some content for like Sporkle quizzes for us to like do for the off season, and I did a like opening day lineups of the last decade or something. And I just remembered that Justin Williams started in right field on opening day in
Oh my
2020.
gosh.
And like
The Justin Williams experience was so funny. It was so short. He was so bad, but he hit
no,
one
he hit an absolute tank off Trevor
nuke.
Bauer.
He hit one absolute nuke. I'm so glad you remember that. It was like a Ronhell Ravello level nuke. Unbelievable.
No, I mean it's that like he's that makes him one of the top 20 hitters in the world. I don't make the rules, Anyway,
Have you seen the Trevor Bauer quote where he's like, "I'm throwing great stuff, but when it's off the plate, they don't swing at it, and then I gotta come back over the plate, and then they crush it."
that's Eric Fetty. That's the Eric Fetty experience. Anyway, I don't want to get sued, so we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on. Well, so let's talk about what do you expect to see from the Cardinals this offseason? I think this is a great place to go here because last offseason was probably the worst. Okay.
Yeah.
All we saw, like literally nothing worth an emergency podcast, pretty much all offseason. All we saw was the one signing, veteran reliever, whatever, Phil Maton. Do you see the Cardinals spending more than $2 million in free agency this offseason?
I think they have to, just with so much coming off the books. Like
Did anybody else spend less than the Cardinals last year?
No.
Man, we love that.
Well, it's mainly just because they couldn't move on from the money that they were doing, and they were going to decrease the payroll anyway. And they didn't the only Goldschmidt, I think, was the only one who really left in free agency that would have made a dent. And
that's a lot of money, though. That was $30 million coming off the books.
Was it?
Yeah,
Goldschmidt was on the but
was it really?
I think
maybe it was, but it's still it was a lot of money coming off the books.
Yeah.
And I mean, we should probably do the math and figure out what they're going to be working with this offseason. But wasn't the payroll this year around 135?
Yeah. The Mats is off the books, Michaelis off the books, Fetty's off the books.
Matt's
Armado should save you some money.
Or Matt's is 12 from last year.
Matt's is 12 and a half, yeah. It's
Michaelis is 18 or 19. You're already at $31 million right there. If you even move half of the Sonny Gray money, that's another 17.
Yeah.
So now you're up to 48.
And then you have arb raises, which is a little bit.
If you move half of the Arenado money, that's another, 15, right? Call it 15. Now you're talking over $60 million off the books. Ryan Helsley, $8 million off the books. The Cardinals could, in theory, part with over $70 million of payroll. And that's without even trading Contreras. And I know you're right. There are going to be some arb raises, but the arb raises are minimal right now. Seriously, who's getting more arb money? Because Nootbaar's not going to make a bunch more money. And
Nootbaar's 5.7. Donovan's 5.4. There's a couple guys on here that Jojo Romero's 4.4. I think you should trade him if you're not going to. I think I trust the front office now to develop relievers. Honestly, I'm in that camp now. John King is 2.1. Just cut him. Sorry, Sandy.
Sure, you're probably right. They probably do. And if you non-tender John King, you can have him back for nothing. That's the other thing. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, Jorge Alcala's 2.1. Cut him too.
There's no way they spend that money, right? And it's crazy. They can move on from so much payroll. And honestly, there's totally a world where they part with Nootbaar. I think that sounds likely to me at this point. I think even if the Cardinals do nothing else, it's very easy for them to shed half their payroll, which is crazy. And besides Donovan, who's getting a raise? Jordan Walker's not making it. He's still
Jordan Walker's not even arb. Matthew Liberatore has 2.8 according to the projection. Burleson's 3.5. Gorman's 2.9.
This is nothing.
Vellante is 3.4, probably considering his success last year as a starter, which here's the thing, right? If you're going to get a bad starter for 3.4, honestly, that's what they cost anyway. So,
honestly, it wouldn't be he could be a non-tender candidate. They're not going to do that.
I don't think they're going to non-tender Pallante.
A more cash-strapped organization in this scenario might actually think about doing that.
But Pallante,
you can dream on it. It'll be fine.
I don't think Pallante at the end of the season, Fetty ended up he was getting worse and worse and worse. So if the Cardinals hadn't cut him, it would have been really bad. But if you look at the end of the season, like the numbers between Palante and Fetty, like Palante was actually a little bit worse than Fetty, which is actually
really. Palante was horrendous last year for like long stretches, and late in the season he was awful.
He was just like so bad for the final like. I think he got a 6th win in like June and then just never got another win.
When you needed Palante to get out there and like win you a game in August, there was a 0% chance that was happening.
It just didn't happen. But
it was like you're already down 4-0 in the first inning because Palante was out there. It's like, great, guys. That was so fun to watch. Turn the game off 15 minutes in. Nothing was worse than Miles Michaelis on the 4th of July.
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you removed all of PCA's at bats against Miles Michaelis, he would have like 4 less homers and his OPS would have dropped by like 30 points, which is crazy.
That sucks. Well, thankfully PCA had a fraudulent second half. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
He's been pretty bad in the playoffs so far. Although he had that big single.
So was my MVP. They've all been kind of terrible.
Shohei Ohtani hit 2 bombs.
Yeah, and ever since that, he's had like 2 hits the entire playoffs. It's been
bad. Well, Dodgers still look really good. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Cardinals are going to have to do something more. I think you're right. There's got to be some. Oh yeah, why does Michael Busch look like Bonds from Jets?
Well, Michael Busch just looks like a great player. I don't even know like.
Michael Busch, yeah, he actually is just a good player, but he also is really good against the Cardinals, and it's infuriating. And we haven't addressed the Cardinals intentionally walking him. That was so funny. Objectively, that was.
I thought we put Oli in S tier because of that.
We should have. I mean, it was the best. Like Cubs fans getting so upset about it on Twitter too. Like, oh, they robbed him of this opportunity. Are the Cardinals supposed to not try to win games? They're down like 4 runs at the time. Like, is the game just over? Are they just supposed to quit? Is that how this works now? That was the most obnoxious thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't really get that. Like, why? Like, what was the point of just letting him? Like, first of all, there's no guarantee that he gets this cycle, right? Like,
yeah, he might have just hit another extra base hit, which is all he did against the Cardinals all season, right?
So, like, I'm not even worried about the single. Like, I'm worried about like a home run or something in that case. But like,
yeah, I'm worried about him digging into the lead more. It was ridiculous. I don't know. I'd never pitched him again. Honestly, he's Barry Bonds against the Cardinals. It's the new Ian Happ. Ian Happ was that way in like the late 2010s, early 2020s, and now I guess Michael Busch has taken up the mantle of Cardinal killing, which sucks. Is the next one in a long
I guess. Well, no, PCA won't do that against not Miles Michaelis, so it's okay. He was just the Miles Michaelis killer, which I don't like. Even last year when he was bad, like he had against Miles Michaelis.
Have you seen the clip of Miles Michaelis pitching to Suarez in Arizona?
Oh yeah,
I think it's my favorite clip from the whole season. He's got that like hitch in his motion, and it comes through, and it just looks like we're playing like beer league softball. And then Suarez takes him like 430. Unbelievable. It was the most non-competitive moment of the whole season. I think it was hilarious.
Yeah,
but yeah, I hope the Cardinals can round back into form eventually. It'd be so nice to have them in October.
Well, I don't know. After watching every inning of the Reds-Dodgers series, I don't really know. Like, if the Cardinals had been in that spot, I don't really know how I would have felt. It's just like, I don't know. This is what it is. Like,
yeah, it was funny. It was really funny, especially like living in Ohio now and being surrounded by a lot of Reds fans who were really amped up about the series.
They didn't stand a chance. Like,
it was awful. That was one of the least competitive series I've ever seen.
It was just terrible. And like, I don't know. Like, if the Cardinals have not, like, I've not seen a series that uncompetitive in a while. And honestly, like, if they were doing that against Hunter Green, think about what they would have done against Sonny Gray, who has an even bigger homer problem, and like has worse stuff.
Yeah, apparently, like everyone on the Red staff was tipping pitches or something too, which that kind of pisses me off.
Like, and like, who do you go to for game 2? Like Liberatore? I guess Ohtani can't really hit lefties, but everyone else in their lineup can. Like Teoscar Hernandez would just like I don't know. I don't know what would have happened if the Cardinals had gotten that last spot. They would have just gotten cooked and like.
Yeah, well, and honestly, like Hunter Green looked good for the first inning and a half or 2 innings, and then the pitch he threw to Teoscar Hernandez was just like a hanger. The pitch Shohei hit in the first at bat, that was a good pitch. Honestly, like that was a fine pitch. I believe it was a slider like off the plate, and Ohtani just got to it and drove it out. But the pitch he threw to Oscar Hernandez, that's when you knew the game was over. Like it was just a hanger. It was crushed. And then after that, he completely fell apart and it looked awful. And I think you're right. Like the Cardinals would have gone to Sonny Gray and maybe they luck out, you know? I mean, the Cardinals did, this is a good point. The Cardinals did go 4-2 against the Dodgers this year. So like maybe
they again like
game, but like who do you go to? I hate the wild card series. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. I don't know if people agree with me on this, but I think it's a terrible way. A 3-game series is literally the worst way to measure a baseball team. Like it's so stupid. It's not enough to go to your whole rotation, right? It's not enough to show off your depth, but it's also too much for a wild card team that like barely made it in. And it just would have been the worst case scenario for the Cardinals. Because in a 5-game series, like maybe you do get a win against the Dodgers 3 or 4, which is probably like more competitive than the Dodgers 2 against your 2. Especially for a team like the Cardinals that was built on mad depth.
Would you rather have Yamamoto against Gray compared to like Tyler Glasnow against like Palante?
You're probably right. I don't know.
The difference between like Yamamoto and Sonny Gray and the difference between like Glasnow or Ohtani against like Andre Palante or like Miles Michaelis.
Ooh, yeah,
Miles would be so bad. Like no, the 5-game series would be even worse. Because you would drop the first 2 games and you would get destroyed in game 3. Like there's like
playoff Michaelis this year would have fed families. It would have been the funniest thing.
So bad.
Could you imagine?
He would definitely be the worst pitcher to start a game in the playoffs this year.
Could you imagine the Cardinals dropping the first 2 of like the NLDS in LA and then coming home and it's Miles Michaelis on the mound in a winner go home game 3?
No one is going to that game.
That would have been so funny.
But
I hate that I'm at a point now where I'm just like laughing about how frustrating the team is. But here we are. That's what the 2025 season did to me, though. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I wonder how you feel about this. The 2023 through 2025 malaise kind of just blends together for me now. It's like it's really been 3 years since the Cardinals were competitive.
But 2023 was like
really bad
because we were going into the season. Pretty much every site was like, yeah, the Cardinals are going to win the division. We're like, oh, this is great. We lost in the playoffs early last year, but like we're optimistic. We had MVP 1 and MVP 3. You know, the pitching looks like it might round into form. Waino is back. Michaelis is back. Like these guys were good last year. Flaherty might be good. And then like the entire like first half of the season, we're just sitting there going like, what is happening? That was the worst. It was the worst. And like every time it felt like the Cardinals were about to round into form, but this has been a oh my gosh, what's the word? I don't know. It's been a thread that you can tie through all 3 of these seasons where like every time it feels like the Cardinals are about to do something and it's like, oh my gosh, there's momentum here. Like something's clicked. They just immediately throw up all over themselves and play awful baseball. Like this year, every time the Cardinals would get within like 3 games of the wild card and we'd look up and be like, oh, immediately lose 5 games in a row. You know, like they go to Colorado and lose a series with a chance to cut into like a very small lead. Or they drop 5 in a row to the Mets, or not the Mets, the Yankees and whoever else, to just like play themselves out of it. They had a chance going into like the final 2 weeks of the year and they just couldn't stop losing. They just couldn't get out of their own way. And it felt like that in 2024, especially in the second half where they just ran out of gas and were terrible. And in 2023, it was like that the whole season. But hey, the system looks good.
It does look good. Yeah, we talked about this on Birds on the Farm. Fangraphs ranked the Cardinals as the #1 system. Granted, it's not the way that Pipeline ranks guys. Like the way Fangraphs did it was if people are watching are familiar, they sorted guys into future value tiers, right? So there's like, I don't think they had anybody in the entire MILB that they ranked as like a 70 FV, a couple 65s, a couple 60s. And the Cardinals really cleaned up in terms of depth. They had a ton of guys that ranked as like 40s and 45s. And so that meant they paced the rankings there in terms of like total value, which is awesome. I'm not sure that the Cardinals are actually the best farm system. Kareem and I talked about this. I'd love to hear your opinion as well. But I do think that people have underrated the Cardinals, and I think they're like somewhere between 8 and 10. And we were high on the system going into last year, and then the Cardinals found a bunch of great things, right? Between Baez breaking out, between Reinel Rodriguez establishing himself as probably the best power hitting prospect in the Cardinal system and one of the best in baseball. Even a guy like Sebastian Dos Santos that we talked about the other night on Birds on the Farm, he won our Newcomer of the Year award. Totally broke out in the DSL, put up some ridiculous numbers reminiscent of what Reinel did last year. So really great across the board. Ishan Henderson broke out. Bryson Motts played himself back into the big league club's plans. Lots of great stuff, even with big time injuries. So, Andrew, I know you saw that ranking. What did you think when you saw that?
I thought it was kind of funny because I don't think any other site would put them there. But like, yeah, the system has gotten a lot better. I think hopefully, like, you know, you get a top 8 pick this year. Hopefully you don't like lose in the draft lottery and like get like a really bad pick. But like they're favored a top 8 pick right now, which is great. I would like that. Hopefully they can get lucky again.
What if we landed the number 1 pick? I'd be so excited.
I did a sim today actually on the thing, and I got it on my first try.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So, you know, definitely possible. Who got it this year? It was the Nationals, right? The Nationals are bad.
Yeah. They drafted
whoever drafted, like the Mariners had like a really high pick, even though they were like
ridiculously high. The Mariners drafted 3rd, and they ended up with Anderson, which was so annoying because I thought the Angels would take him, and then the Angels surprised everybody and took Bremner. So, and the Reds and Guardians drafted super high 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think the Reds drafted 2nd and the Guardians drafted 1st. How they ended up with the 1st pick with a winning record was ridiculous.
Yeah,
although they missed on JJ and they drafted Bazzana and JJ's.
You never know. You never know what will happen. So I'm excited for that. Like, hopefully that'll really make the system great.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think this is 3 to 5 years. I feel like seems really long. I feel like you could have a lot of these guys ready to go in 2 years, like by 2027.
Yeah, Liam Doyle is going to move through the system really quickly, but also like in the 2nd round they took that
Ryan Mitchell,
prep outfielder, right? This guy's going to have probably a 5-year timetable.
Yeah.
So like a lot of like Reinel, I think still you're talking like 3 to 4 year timetable realistically.
Like you have these guys that are like that you just got from like the Mets, you just stole from the Mets.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? Oh my gosh, is Ryan Helsley back next year?
That would be funny. I think you get Ryan Helsley, Devin Williams. You get like you had these 2 closers, you know, who are like so good, and like I don't know. I don't know how good they're going to be.
What would you pay for Ryan Helsley?
Like
I saw someone suggest
$8-9 million.
Yeah, I think it's a prove it deal. I think you could get Ryan Helsley to St. Louis for like $7 million for 1 year.
Yeah, like I feel like that would be. I would do that. Why not?
I saw somebody suggesting like 2 for 22. I was like, no way, I would sign that.
2 for 22 is crazy. That's too much.
No way. Well, I don't know if Ryan Helsley's getting that from anybody. And I think about
Ryan Helsley was just awful in the second half, and his peripherals didn't look any better. Like he was just giving up a lot of homers, a lot of walks. It's like that's not a profile of that.
Yeah, I think if I'm Ryan Helsley too, I want to get back to St. Louis because that's where I really thrived for 4 years.
With a no-trade clause or something. I wouldn't give him a no-trade clause.
No, I wouldn't give him a no-trade clause either because the first thing I'm doing when Ryan Helsley is good is trading him at the deadline. Right?
Yeah.
Although maybe you give him some more input and you send him somewhere he's going to get to pitch the 9th. I think that was not.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was with like Edwin Diaz and stuff.
It's got to be a huge thing where like Ryan Helsley, not only has he been a closer, but he's been like an exclusive closer for the last 2 years for the Cardinals because
they really treated him with like kid gloves when he was here.
Well, yeah, they never let him pitch outside the 9th anymore because that's what he wanted to do because that's how he was going to make his money was racking up saves, and he did rack up a ton. I mean, he had almost a 50 save season, but
oh boy,
pitching outside the 9th inning, like not something he's done in years. So the Mets just think, oh yeah, great. He can step right into the 7th inning. I think it's a whole different feel. And I think there's a good chance that had something to do with the problems.
Ohtani popped out on the first pitch of the game. That's great.
That's funny. But yeah, I feel like we've been dragging on a little bit here, but is there anything, if anyone in the chat has any questions or anything before we close out, if there's any topics you really want us to address, Yeah, this comment from Chris here. This would be devastating if Yadi took the Braves job and Albert took the Angels job. That would kind of suck. But
Yeah,
hopefully that's not the
I don't
case.
think Yadi. I think he wants to be in St. Louis, and it makes the most sense for him. I think, and I think he could force Oli out if he really wanted to, which makes me sad. I hope Oli gets to go somewhere nice and like go to a contender and show everyone and win a manager of the year and
maybe the Dodgers finally fire Dave Roberts and they hire Oli.
They won't. I don't like Dave Roberts has made some questionable decisions in this postseason, but like no.
Oli to the Yankees.
That would be funny.
That actually would be hilarious. I think Oli gets a job afterwards. I think he's actually like a really good manager, and I think people around the league get it. I think he's actually like, I'm not just saying that. I think he's actually a good manager, and I know people.
And I think Mike Schultz is a terrible manager, but that's okay.
I will never understand the Mike Schultz defenders because we all watched the wild card game in 2021. Okay, yeah. We all watched it.
It's the worst decision. That was probably one of the worst managerial decisions, other than like Matheny bringing in like Waka, was it in the NLCS or whatever?
Sure. I mean, that was really bad, but Matheny, like everyone agrees Matheny was an awful manager. He sucked. Everyone knows that. But the Mike Schultz defense, it never will make sense to me. It's the worst decision I've ever seen made. And people can point to whatever individual Oli bullpen decision they want. There's nothing that even comes close to Alex Reyes. It's it's the worst. It's the dumbest thing ever. The first batter of the game, too. I think it was the fourth pitch Reyes threw. He threw 2 balls, got 1 swinging strike, and then threw a meatball down the middle that Chris Taylor hit over the left field wall to give the Dodgers a walk-off win. It was ridiculous. This was a guy who had a terrible half. He'd been awful for the last 2 months. And, of course, we went straight to him in a postseason game on the road in like a super high leverage situation. It was terrible. I don't know. It's unforgivable, in my opinion. And that alone was a fireable offense. Also, it's not like Mike Schultz didn't screw up the 2020 wild card series either. It was awful.
Oh, it's Ponce.
Yeah. Ponce de Leon was in the game. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I could talk about it all day, but it pissed me off. It was really poorly done. Quite frankly, the 2 times he actually got to go to the postseason. No, he went in 2019 too. But those series, but those series were poorly managed. They were horrendous. Some of the worst I've ever seen. So I don't know. Happy to put that out there if anybody still wants to defend Schultz. Like terrible decision making there. And I don't think he did. Padres fans didn't seem very happy with it either.
Oh, they're not. No.
Yeah, it was terribly done. But yeah. Well, I think that's about it for us. We're gonna have some fun evergreen content coming at some point too. So hopefully some scripted videos eventually. If you guys liked our Mo trade history, let us know. Andrew put a ton of work into that. The final product really turned out awesome. So that was great. And then it would be, I don't know, taking some quizzes or something online. That could be kind of fun. So welcome to play along with us as well at some point. So I think that's all for us today. Is there anything we've missed?
Yeah, I think start of the offseason, start of the postseason. I don't know. Have any Cardinals former Cardinals really done that much? I don't know. It'll happen in the ALCS. We got the Randy Arozarena, Tommy Edman, MVP, Bo, and
oh my gosh,
see what happens. Is there a former Cardinal on the Blue Jays? I don't think so.
No. The Blue Jays almost traded for Helsley, so he could have been there. Yeah, I don't think there is. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. You got Carson Kelly still kicking around. Eric Fetty's still kicking around.
No, Eric Fetty's gone. He got DFA'd.
Good. Who's on the
I would have gone to Fetty in that first game in the garbage time when the Brewers up by like 7.
It would have been a great way to not burn any real arms.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Whatever.
Well, you're right. We'll definitely see some damage and we'll hear all about it, but it'll be what it is. I guess that's all for us today. So enjoy the rest of the postseason. The Blues play tonight, so that's going to be really fun to watch. I'm so grateful we've got hockey and college football and fantasy football to take my mind off another postseason that the Cardinals are not participating in. So, yeah. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.